Raccoon reacts live.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for 500 subscribers. Feedback I got on my recent video for the MCU tier list. Wow, I'm going to do another one, and this time I'm going to do MCU characters. Before we get into this video, make sure to smash that subscribe button so you don't forget to miss out on my content, and you'll stay up to date. So, we have quite a few tiers here, so it might be a little bit difficult to categorize. Okay, here we go. Okay, Thor. Come on, man. Thor was always a great character, but I think they didn't get his character right till after Age of Ultron. I think he is the character he should be now. But we wanted to see this badass version of Thor, and I'll say I'm going to put him in A because I feel like it was quite slow for us to see him become the version of Thor we want to see. Obviously, they can't make him OP straight away because then there'd be no arc and no sense of evolving. If he's not evolving, then it's not exactly a good arc then. I think A's fair because like he's still got a long way to go, and I think he'll make it to S then. Also, I think he deserves A for now because I think it took a while for us to really get used to Thor. Like again, like I said, after Ragnarok or during Ragnarok is when we saw the real version of Thor we wanted to see. And Taika Waititi sort of rebooted the character, and I feel like people really familiarised themselves with that Thor. But obviously, people that have been Thor fans from day one love him, so yeah. Doctor Strange, wow. We've only seen Doctor Strange in one film, so it's only a solo film. Then, of course, there's both big Avengers movies. He played a massive role. I think, from what we've seen, I would give him an A. Because, again, he's still got a long way to go. I loved his character, though. I love him as much as Thor. I think he could grow to becoming more powerful than Thor. But I really want to see more from Thor, of course. And Doctor Strange, man. That fight against Thanos set the tone. Even without the stones, he can still beat and hold his ground, you know. Awesome character. Benedict Cumberbatch really captures the idea of Doctor Strange. I love this film. I think he's a very underrated character in the MCU in some ways. And his solo film was very underrated. If you love your supernatural type stuff and you haven't seen Doctor Strange, you have to watch it. But I'm guessing you have as you're an MCU fan. So I hope so. Okay, then we have Mantis. Now, I like Mantis. She's sweet. She's like a good moral support, and she's only helped once or twice, like, you know, stopping Ego from trying to get to the Guardians when she put him to sleep and when she did the same to Thanos. But I'm going to put her in E tier only because she's quite bad in terms of being a hero. Like, she can't do a lot. Like, in the final battle in Endgame, what was she going to do? Like, she's kind of useless in that way. When she's using the right way, though, she can be maybe C, B tier. Maybe B tier is a bit high, but C tier at best. I think it's fair to put her in E. Okay, Ant-Man. Ant-Man easily B tier. I think he's, again, another underrated character. Ant-Man was just so important during Endgame. The whole quantum realm was because of him. And I literally mean, like, he wouldn't have let the Avengers know if he wasn't in there. And he was in the quantum realm during the first film. And then Hank Pym was like, damn, like, we can save Janet, we can bring her back. It's a possibility. I like the first and second film, but a lot of people didn't seem to like them. And again, I think they don't really understand Scott Lang's character. And I like how human he is, despite being in the suit. Like, that can make him very relatable. And, you know, he was desperate for his daughter and his family to provide. And he wanted to just see her. And that's a very relatable thing for a lot of single fathers that maybe if they're not in prison or whatnot, they've just been in trouble and they've not been able to see their daughter. But, like, I think there's a lot of big things you can pick out of his films. And I actually really liked him, man. His introduction to War was awesome. He was also, I was ashamed he wasn't in Infinity War, but of course he was on house arrest. But Endgame, I loved it, especially when he turned into Giant Man and we saw him punch the hell out of Leviathan. What an awesome moment. But yeah, I like Ant-Man a lot. He's one of my favourites, but I think B is fair for now. Okay, Captain Marvel. In terms of being a hero, she's done quite a bit. Like, she's managed to stop Thanos from doing the snap. She saved a hell lot of universes. But in all honesty, I don't really like her character. I just think she's too full of herself. I liked her at Endgame. I thought she was like pretty straightforward, just got on with stuff rather than being so annoying and, you know, feminist, if you could say. Man, she just cringed me out in her film, man. If they didn't really do that before Endgame, I would have probably liked her more. But she obviously is very powerful, and for me personally, I don't think I want to put her high up because I don't really like her. But I'll put her in D because she's got obviously a lot of powers, but just personally, I don't really like her character. And she kind of calls herself a hero, which is quite arrogant. I'm just not a fan of that. Okay, Black Panther. I think T'Challa's really cool. His introduction to Civil War. He did get beaten quite easy for the reign in Wakanda, you know, to be king when Killmonger took it. And there were points where he was quite weak in that film. But I think Civil War really set the tone for me, and I loved it. And of course, in Infinity War, when the Battle of Wakanda happened, and the Wakanda Forever charge, that was awesome. I think he's going to become more like Cap in the future, so he will take over the Cap mantle. Then, I mean, not literally the Cap mantle, but you know that role. Then you've got Doctor Strange is like the Tony with the way he is. And then, of course, you've got Captain Marvel, who's pretty much the powerhouse like Thor. So you got that. Iron Man's next, and you know, he's going in S tier very easily. Iron Man is the most selfless character in the end of his arc, and the way he started from being billionaire playboy philanthropist, being really arrogant, to the most selfless man in the universe, to do the snap was honestly the craziest thing, because the amount of threats he stopped from happening is actually phenomenal. Like, think about it, the amount of universes or places Thanos would have conquered if he did destroy Earth. Tony did it for everyone, man. He took a big hit on himself for everyone. He even sacrificed his own time with his family. He knows he wasn't going to see them no more, so it's a shame. But I think at the end of the day, he's the best hero because of what he did. Apart from some other characters, of course, like being on a similar level. I think no other character would have done the snap, unlike Tony, because Tony just, when there's a problem, he wants to solve it and he adapts. And he was very adaptable against Thanos, even though he lost. Tony always finds a way, and that's why Thanos truly feared him. Okay, Hulk. Hulk will go in A because of his power. And, you know, Hulk's just a badass. But, of course, I mean, he's done a lot of great things, as we've seen in the Avengers films. Him doing the reverse snap to bring everyone back was the biggest thing I think Hulk's done. Because he's such a powerful character, and to be able to wield the stones and survive, wow. Like, only Thanos was the only being we've seen to do that. So, I think people don't understand the magnitude of what he did. They just think, oh, because there was no action, no Hulk smashing, it wasn't as great. But this guy saved the universe as well as Stark. But of course, Stark was never going to survive his version. But yeah, I loved Hulk. I think it's a shame he didn't get another few of his own films because of this universal rights. But yeah, I think 80 is fair for Hulk. And you know, who doesn't love Hulk, man? Okay, Black Widow. I'm going to put Black Widow in C. Now, a lot of people think, yeah, she's not as powerful as Captain Marvel, but there's been plenty of times where she's been a hero and she's always been good support and really helped the team and keep them together. She has that shield connection that also connects to the Avengers because she's like a good balance of it. She can sort of get the team together even if Fury couldn't. And I think that's what's important with her character. She can really get the team ensemble together. And I can't wait for her film. I think they're going to show you a side to Natasha that we haven't really seen yet and understand more of her character. I want to know more about Budapest. I want to know more about the red in her ledger. I want to see more, and I can't wait to see the crew that she'll have in her film, like we've seen with all the other solo heroes. So, yeah, I love Black Widow. I don't think there's one thing I dislike about her. And of course, she sacrificed herself for the Soul Stone. Similar to Tony in that sense, she couldn't get over the 5 year, the 5 years of what happened with the snap, and she just couldn't forget it. You know, her and that's like Steve, what he said to her, you know, no matter how many people he tells, move on and you got to grow. Some people do, but not us. Widow is one of those people. And Natasha Romanoff is just portrayed so well by Scarlett Johansson. And as a hero, I think it's fair to put her in C. Captain Marvel hasn't done a lot for what we've seen. Of course, she's done a big thing, stop Thanos doing the snap, and in her own film being there before the Avengers. But I just don't like how they introduced her, and I think that's ruined the hero side to her for me. But yeah, Black Widow C definitely, and I think that's mainly because her powers are quite limited as well. She's obviously an assassin. She's an expert in that field. She's very skilled at fighting. And she's really awesome and really slick. So gotta give her that credit. Okay, Bucky. I'm gonna put him in the same tier because before the serum, Bucky was pretty much just a soldier. Great moral support for Cap, but then obviously when he became Winter Soldier, he was deadly. But he wasn't exactly a hero, so I can't really measure him by that. We didn't really see any of that viciousness in Infinity War Endgame. But we did see it in Civil War, and I don't think he's much of a hero from what we've seen. I think the only time he's really been a hero was the first Avenger. Infinity War, of course, helping the Avengers, and in Endgame when he came back. There's not been a lot since. But I think I will put his character up when we see Falcon and Winter Soldier, because I'm sure they're going to give him a bigger role. Same with Falcon. My favourite character in the MCU, come on, man. I'm going to put Steve Rogers up there. I mean, he sacrificed himself to make sure no one would suffer when he dropped the bomber in the ocean. Obviously, sacrificing himself to make sure no one would suffer. Woke up 70 years later, never got the dance of Peggy. He's always been helping the Avengers, just trying to do what's right. In a sense, in Civil War, people could have seen him as a villain because he was breaking the Avengers, but he was doing it for what was right, and he wanted to make sure that Bucky wasn't neglected, because it is so unfair that Bucky was brainwashed and all this, and then Tony's sort of blaming him for the death of his parents, which is understandable to a regard, but it wasn't Bucky, it was the brainwashing of Hydra. And I don't know, he just hasn't done enough for me to be up on the other levels, because he hasn't had his own solo film or anything, and of course he's a support character. It's always going to be difficult, but that's the thing. But I can't wait to see more from Bucky and see how he is without the brainwashing of Hydra. So it'll be awesome. Okay, we have got Drax. I might put Drax... See, Drax hasn't exactly saved anyone, but he's been a hero to some extent. But he's more of just a funny character, and you can really enjoy watching. I'll put him in C, because he's got some really good... He's called Drax the Destroyer for a reason. He's really strong. He's a good member of the Guardians. Of course, he's not as powerful as certain characters, but I think he would be more powerful than Black Widow, Bucky in a fight. So I mean, he hasn't. Again, it's hard to measure some of these side characters because they don't have their own film and it's not all about them. So it's hard to judge them as a hero. But if that was Yondu, for example, I would put him up B tier because of what he did. But yeah, I feel that he's going to die in Guardians 3 or Rocket. Rocket hates seeing people die, all the people he cares about. And I think what he will do is make sure that it won't be anyone, it will be him. Because he doesn't want anyone going. He'd rather take the heat instead. Hawkeye. I don't know where to put Hawkeye, I'm not going to lie. I think Hawkeye is... Hawkeye's quite a interesting character. I mean, he's been there since 4-1. He's helped the Avengers out. But has he really been a hero? Okay, in some ways he has been he was brainwashing the Avengers. He hasn't really had a big impact on being a hero, but there have been moments for him. I love what they did with him in Endgame, though. It gave him more influence and more respect for his character, because he was just written off in Infinity War. And a shame we didn't get to see him, because obviously he was under house arrest, just like Scott was. But we saw where Scott was during that time, but we didn't really see Hawkeye. So yeah, it's a shame we didn't get to see more of him. I think he thinks himself as a villain. I might put him in C tier as well because he's sort of similar to Black Widow and what he can do. But I think it's really difficult to list these guys. I'm not gonna lie, but I think it's fair. You got to consider every aspect, not just what they can do in their strength. It's like what they've done. But that's the thing, man. Okay, Scarlet Witch. Well, the thing is, she is the most powerful Avenger, apparently, according to like I think the Russos said it, or Kevin Feige. I'm gonna put her an A because yeah, it's fair. She's, for me, actually, you know what? I'm gonna put her in B, and I'll tell you why. It's not because of her power and strength. She's had a complicated arc, and I'll tell you why. I love her character though. So it started off in Age of Ultron. She's pretty much a villain. The main plot was based around, you know, the fact Tony wanted to create a peacekeeping program, and then obviously he created Ultron. He wouldn't have created Ultron if it wasn't for Wanda. And it's possible that Sokovia wouldn't have got destroyed, because then Ultron wouldn't have destroyed Sokovia and try and, you know, extinct the Earth. Because it starts with her brainwashing Tony or giving him that mind spell, and him seeing one of the possibilities of Endgame, I think. And then, of course, in Civil War, she saves Steve from getting killed by Crossbones when he blows himself up, but she ends up getting innocents killed by a nearby building, again questioning what she's doing. And then obviously in Infinity War, actually, well, technically Civil War was sort of started off with her doing that, and then obviously Ross brought the Avengers together and said, right, we've got to stop this. And I think things she's done has triggered, and in a way it sort of weirdly resembles the chaos magic, because that brings a lot of chaos. And I think as a hero, she hasn't done a great deal, apart from like the scenes we saw in Infinity War, how she like saved Widow and Okoye from getting killed by those machine things. And she was pretty awesome against Thanos in Endgame. But again, I think we're going to see more of her capabilities in WandaVision and Doctor Strange 2. I think she is going to be a better hero, but I think there's been a lot of questionable things, and I don't know if anyone's actually seen it in this way, but she's done a lot of damage rather than help, you know? Like, she waited so long to get killed, like, to destroy Vision so the stone would go, but, you know, there's a lot of things. I think her lack of sacrifice is what doesn't help the Avengers, but I'm not slating her character. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of points I don't think people say enough. And she's a respected character. We all love her, but she's done a lot of questionable things. Okay, War Machine. War Machine is pretty powerful with, of course, he's got Tony Stark capabilities. I'll put him in C as well. I know he's more powerful than Black Widow and Hawkeye and all that. And he is pretty much a soldier without the suit. So in that regard, he would be similar. But I think War Machine, being a good support character and being there since, you know, Iron Man 1, he's going to have that respect. But again, he's better than an ordinary soldier. And I just think he can be heroic in some ways. And he has. I mean, he learns from a lot of things he does, you know. Like, he learns that when he signed the Accords, he was doing what he thought was right. And then he took the price of it in Civil War, obviously, when he got paralyzed. And, you know, I like how he takes a lot of responsibility, and I think he's that support for Tony, and he makes Tony take responsibility as well, and that's what I like about him. He really pushes Tony in the right way, especially like Iron Man 2 when he gets the suit and then he starts telling Tony, like, you gotta stop doing what you're doing right now. And, you know, they have that fight in Iron Man 2. I think Rhodey's a cool character, and a lot of people respect him. So I think it's important to put him in a position where it's fair, but he's not so OP. But it's difficult because he does have Iron Man capabilities, but then his suits are not quite like Iron Man. He's just full on insane, you know. But I think C's fair. Okay, Groot. Okay, Groot. Baby Groot is. Ooh. Okay, Baby Groot's still like. Okay, I know this is gonna look stupid, but I think Baby Groot, or Groot collectively, is going to do a lot in the future. And I believe they're bringing the alpha version of Groot in Guardians 3. You can see how powerful Groot can be and what he can do. And of course, Baby Groot hasn't done a great deal. But when in Infinity War, he becomes quite an important character, as he is the one to wield or even forge Thor's hammer. Thor's Stormbreaker. And if it wasn't for him cutting his own arm off, which is not like something everyone does every day, then technically we wouldn't see that. And technically Thor wouldn't have survived because he needed the lightning to help him. And of course, Guardians 2, which just finished like less than an hour ago, he obviously helped destroy Ego, who was going to destroy the universe. So in that way, you got to give it to Groot, because he technically saved the universe on his own as well, without the Guardians. So you got to give him in that sense. I would, you're looking at him and Captain Marvel together, but you got to think Captain Marvel hasn't really been around. She hasn't exactly saved the universe, but like, she's prevented certain things from happening to Earth. But a lot of people will say like she kind of left Earth, and if there was no Avengers, then she's leaving it for the worst. Okay, who the hell is that? To me, that looks like Ant-Man again. Well, I don't really get it. Why would there be two? That's a bit stupid. They probably meant someone else. I'm sure there's a few missing characters though. Okay, Gamora. Gamora's pretty powerful. I think C tier again. She's done quite a big deal for the Guardians, and of course, I know her being Thanos' daughter. She was given a lot of hate within her stories, not by the audience, more of just like the actual characters. But Gamora's done quite a lot, and she was very quick to turn her back on Thanos when Nebula told her about the future, and that showed she was good at heart. Like, she didn't want to have people suffer, as Thanos always does. So like, I think C's fair. She's quite powerful. I think she's more powerful than like all the characters in that list, apart from Rhodey, I'd say, because she's like not exactly human. She's the last of her race, but she's kind of got really good strength. It'd be interesting to see her against Black Widow. That'd be cool. But I think like she's a warrior as well, and Thanos trained her, so I mean she's gonna be really mad in that way. Okay, Rocket. Ooh, thing is, Rocket is, he's very small and everything, but he packs a punch with his weapons. But if we take the weapons away, Rocket can only do so much. He can engineer, he can do the odd thing, and he is a hero in some ways, but he doesn't do a great deal for the Guardians character. He's definitely the part that you laugh at the most, and same with Drax. Like, these guys are helpful, but they can be really funny and just there in a way. Not saying that he's totally useless, but we could see more from him. But I think this will be determined in Guardians 3, because they might kill him or Drax off. So again, I'm always intrigued. Falcon. Falcon. I'm gonna put Falcon in C tier based on the fact, without his suit, he's just a hero. He's become Cap now, which is a big deal, but he's definitely not ready for it. That's what the Falcon Winter Soldier will focus on, and I'm really intrigued by that. It's got the whole Winter Soldier vibe. It's gonna be awesome. Falcon's done quite a lot for a short amount of time, but I mean, he got his ass beaten by Ant-Man, and he's very easily weak in some ways if he's fighting in big battles. But we've seen the really good side to him more. I think Sam is a great guy. He's got the same sort of spirit that Cap does when it comes to preventing, bad things from happening, like Hydra, etc. But Sam still got a long way to go, and he's definitely C tier. I'm starting to think I might put Rhodey, him in B tier, because Rhodey is pretty powerful with the suit. But again, it's just a support character. Okay, Spider-Man. Wow. Okay. This version of Spider-Man has to be A tier, man. Come on. Like, Spidey was just so insane. Like, I know they got a big future for him, and of course, everyone loves Spider-Man. I mean, when you go into Marvel, you most likely watch Spider-Man as the first ever thing, and you probably got into him first. I mean, he's so relatable, so awesome. Peter Parker is just so human in more ways than he actually is. And like, I like Tom Holland's version. I think they've done quite a great deal with his arc with Tony and to integrate him into the story. But he's going to be back for a lot more. I don't think it's over after Spider-Man 3 and another Avengers film. I think they want Tom Holland for the long haul. And I know they got Spider-Verse, but they can differentiate. So like one film, he could be in Spider-Verse, and then the next film, he could be in Venom or, you know, an MCU movie. And he can differentiate from the verses, which would be awesome. And that can sort of work in favour of both studios. So that'd be awesome if they could do that. But yeah, we want to see more Spidey. Star-Lord, I'll put B, because again, he's done quite a lot. Of course, he's done a lot. He technically got Tony killed, because if he didn't hit Thanos when he found out Gamora was sacrificed by him, then Tony would have would have got the gauntlet. They would have stopped Thanos, and that would have been it. But because of his reaction, and it's understandable why he reacted to that, because he's pretty much lost everyone. I mean, his mum and his dad, and Yondu, who was actually his proper dad. Things he really cared about, he lost. So it's really sad for his character. But Star-Lord, man, if you didn't do that whole thing with the snap, then, or, you know, the whole thing with Thanos, then we would have been, certain characters would be alive. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, he didn't save the universe. He kind of rather mucked it up. See, I might put him in C for that reason. But of course, in his own films, he's been quite a good hero. He's done quite a lot. I mean, he is an outlaw. Then again, Scarlet Witch was like a sort of a criminal experiment, but she wasn't exactly bad. I think it might be fair to put him there. Okay, Vision. See, the thing is, Vision hasn't done quite a great deal. I mean, he was there in Age of Ultron, evolved and everything, and then Civil War. He contributed to what happened to Rhodey. But yeah, he said when there's, you know, when there's like conflict, there's more chaos. And I think he sort of brings that when he said it. And it's not just him, of course, all the other heroes. In Infinity War, he's so underpowered, and I don't think they gave him enough power in that, which is a shame. And then Endgame, he wasn't there. But I like Vision a lot. I think I'll put him actually in B, because I think he has got a lot more to him. And he can definitely do a lot more. But when you think about it, I think I might change Nat to B, you know, because her sacrifice of the Soul Stone makes her a massive hero. But it's just what she's done, you know, with her abilities. It's difficult. I mean, I'll complete the list. I think that's a fair list, in all honesty. You might debate the Captain Marvel thing, but I think it's just based on the measure of her heroism and what she's done. But, like, yeah, I think these characters have to... You know what, I'm actually going to stick with that. I'm going to be firm with that and just stick with it, because the more I think of it, the worse. But yeah, that's my MCU tier list with the characters. Now, there's definitely a lot of missing characters, but let me know what you guys think. I'm going to put a poll up and I'll ask you guys what you want to see next. Because these tier lists, man, they're really fun, and I just love ranking and doing all these top 5s. And yeah, thank you for watching this video if you've come this far. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed this content, and I'll see you next time.